Is one word, two syllables. Ridiculous, right?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Unfiltered Truth. This is the training camp recap with your boy Philly Phil. We're gonna do something a little different. This is forget about something a little different. Welcome to the 2023 season training camp. We've been waiting all off season long since February, and now we're here. Football is starting. Everybody's in camp. We won't be without football for another day in our lives until mid-February. So let's buckle up and enjoy the ride. There's going to be plenty of ups and downs. But let's get into this show. So before we get started with this, I'm going to do my best to start bringing the unfiltered truth to you guys daily. As long as there's a press conference, we will cover it, or I will cover it. And so we'll give you the unfiltered truth breakdown so we can speak to coach, speak to you guys, so you'll know what exactly is being said. And it'll be something fun and lightweight. It's not going to be very long, a couple minutes every day, but you will keep it gangster and push through it. So let's get it started. Head coach Josh McDaniels addressed the press today for the first time from training camp, and officially with training camp underway. One of the first things that they did was medical meetings, and it's a mandatory part of camp, and then the vets will get their last bit of conditioning done so that they can be good to go to start practice and we can get the thing rolling. There's no restrictions on Jimmy G, who passed his physical, and according to McDaniels, Jimmy, even though despite not being able to participate in OTAs, mini camps, and all that other good stuff, was still able to win over his teammates by spending time with them off the field and getting to know them on a deeper level, on a personal level, and everything that you would want to do in order to get to know guys and to really form that bond and camaraderie on a deep personal level. So, I mean, it's pretty much standard what you do when you come to a new spot and you start up with a new team, but Jimmy didn't make those steps, and so far they're paying off. And one of the things that was said about how does he expect Jimmy to take off? And while he said he didn't quite want to say it was like riding a bike, but he expects that Jimmy is going to pick back up where he was fairly soon. Marcus Peters. So we had a couple interesting quotes from here. I was going to kind of spit through these quotes. For when addressing Marcus Peters, he had multiple opportunities to sit down and talk with him. He's very bright, understands the game, really a mature, intelligent guy in terms of defensive structure, coverages, reading route patterns, etc. So he was very impressed with that, and more than anything, Marcus Peters wants to be a Raider. He was a Raider fan growing up in West Oakland. He graduated from McClymonds High. And you know all the story about being the Chiefs, but we need the dog that Marcus Peters is, and that's all well and good that he knows he's intelligent, he knows the game. That this defense is like teeth; it's got a little bit of bite to it now. And when you look at what they're going to be, what could potentially be trotted out as their starting three, with maybe perhaps a shift back to slot for Nate Hobbs and Corey Bennett and Marcus Peters on the outside, you now have a legitimate secondary, one that can be feared. But we're not going to keep it on track. When JJ8, Josh Jacobs, this was probably by far one of the most interesting things that Josh McDaniels said out of the whole press conference, and that's because a lot of people have got this notion that he's not a player's coach, that he's not about his guys, that he's not this personable person. But a few of the things that he said about Josh Jacobs were as follows: he respects every player's right to try and do what's best for them. He said it multiple times this spring. He respects him, Josh Jacobs, tremendously, and he looks forward to seeing him whenever he is here. And ultimately, whenever Josh Jacobs is there, it's his decision to make. And so, McDaniels has been on record as being a Josh McDaniels guy over and a Josh Jacobs guy, over and over and over again. And the fact that you see that he wants him here and he wants him to be that guy. And Dave, hold up the deal. But okay, for the last year's rookies, I'll just call them as sophomores. His response: our job is to try to get them to improve every year, regardless of which year it is. Players got to develop. That's the only way this team is going to get better. It's the only way that you're going to stop seeing the losses pile up and stop having to search free agency to find guys because yours aren't developing and panning out. When it came to Tyree Wilson, there's no timeline on when he'll be back on the field, but he's headed in the right direction, and there is no question about that. I don't know how well you can take that, but at the same time, he said the same thing about Jimmy, and Jimmy's here, so there's some interesting things going on with that. Byron Young, who's on the PUP list, there's also no timeline, but he's doing everything the right way. I don't exactly know what that means, but it sounds good when you answer the question. Hunter Renfrow. I know he's excited. He's ready to go. He's healthy, and he had a good offseason. It's a pretty blasé answer, but it is what it is. But we got back another interesting tidbit was when addressing the offensive line. And the first thing that they're looking for out of their offensive line is to go out there and compete. Communication is really important for these guys, and the fact that they are bringing almost their entire starting five back. Continuity also helps their communication and helps them be able to trust the guys next to them, do the job, know what the guy next to you is going to do. Through the course of this offseason, he also mentioned that he would be intentionally switching up the offensive line so that guys could get used to working with everyone on the team, and the communication could be perfect no matter who it is. Ultimately, you want all of your linemen speaking the same language so that they can communicate and work together in order to be the strength of their offense. And one of the things, and again, he said offensive lines don't get enough credit for all the things that happen offensively, and so we have a lot of confidence in our group. They had a great spring, and one of them, and then when brought up about joint practices, he's excited for the joint practices because usually during joint practices, you get a chance to hit somebody other than your guys and get a chance to confirm if what you think about a player is real or if he's just one of your other guys is more problematic. Because when you hit other guys and when you go up against other guys that you know are good, you get a chance to measure where you are. And he said as much. We always learn a lot about our football team then, and that's a good opportunity for you to find out kind of some areas where you're strong, where you might need some help or some work in those practices as well. And for defense, they had a really simple goal each week. It will obviously be to try to create disruption, turnovers, and negative plays. That's a great set of goals for a defense who has not had very many at all. And so he ended off with Jimmy G. And this little tidbit is probably what should just absolutely tickle all of Raider Nation's heart. We are excited about the things he does well. He's generally given his football team an opportunity to win. And I think the most important number for me at that position, the quarterback position, it's really the only one I care about, is does he get wins on the board? And generally, Jimmy has done that. Just win, baby. This is your Unfiltered training camp recap for day one. Bill Robinson, out of here. Thank you. Take care. See you tomorrow.
This is one word, two syllables. Ridiculous, right?